thought I'd do a video about why we started van life and how we're finding it after 10 months.
When did we start it? In
August
yeah.
last year. I think it's 10 months now. What else?
We started off in our Swift Voyager.
Yeah, which we had brand new, but it was just too small for what we needed really, so that's why we changed to a 9-metre motorhome.
Kontiki.
Swift Kontiki.
I never know what model number it is though.
649.
Yeah.
649.
A lot more room for us.
Yeah, a lot more room. But, yeah. But we just wanted to talk about the pros and cons, what we think. This is obviously just our opinion. Obviously, everyone's got their own opinion of.
Yeah, it works differently for different people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
With the 2 girls and that, and homeschooling, and how half our family think we're completely nuts, and how some of our family think it's really good. We got ourselves a seasonal pitch before we started full-time van life this year, because we thought we was going to try and keep normal routine, and you were still working, weren't you?
Yep, I was still working full-time.
So just going to try and keep to a normal life but live in the van. That's how we first thought we'd start, but it just doesn't go together. We found
it's quite difficult.
Yeah, trying to keep to 9 to 5 and trying to get the girls to school, and it just didn't work. It was just complete mayhem basically,
and it also meant we couldn't really travel and do what we wanted to do. So
and we felt like we wanted to do this properly and travel a bit, and we felt it's just so restrictive. So you gave up your job, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then
and we decided to take the girls out of school.
Yeah.
Well,
Evie
out of school because Evie's 6.
So yeah,
and Matilda's only just coming up to starting school in September.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's how it sort of like came about really. But we've found a massive improvement in Evie, haven't we? Since she's been homeschooling now. I know people say, oh, she doesn't get to mix with her friends and other kids and stuff, but she does get to see her friends still in the holidays.
We meet up with our old school friends.
Yeah, and we're not a million miles away from where they are. And they get to play with kids on the campsite where we're at, where our seasonal pictures. When we go to shows, meet
when we go abroad, they meet.
Yeah, like we was in France last week, and they were playing football. Boy camping there, a Romanian boy that just come up and started talking to him in really good English as well. So yeah, that's good. They enjoyed that.
And Evie, her confidence, and Matilda's, they would never have spoken to people and like ordered food in a restaurant or said hello, especially in French or in a different language. No. And they're more than happy to do that. So yeah, taking them out of school has been one of the best things. I'm not going to say homeschooling's easy. No. And there's some days when Evie just doesn't want to learn, and we're just having to we're 8-9 months into it, and we just have to find a different way that fits with her and how she wants to learn. So
she's a bit more of a practical learner, isn't she?
Yeah.
Sitting her down in front of the book doesn't work, so we have to try and make it a bit more fun for her and stuff.
But for anybody thinking about it, you can get everything online.
Yeah. The
support you get from your local council as well is really good, and all the Facebook things. It is.
Really?
Yeah, you can.
You've had 2 phone calls and that's it.
Yeah, no, but you can go to like monthly, like drop-in centres, which I haven't.
Anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot online. You can get, if anybody's thinking about it, there's loads of stuff online.
There's lots of stuff.
There's Oak Academy, there's a Twinkle, the Reading Eggs, and there's loads of Facebook groups that help you out and stuff. So from that point of view, it's like a little community that everybody helps you out. So if you're worried about doing it, I would just, go on Facebook and have a look and chat to people, because there's loads of help there. So.
Everyone that does it always sees a massive improvement, and no one ever says it's not gone right or it's gone bad or anything like that. Everyone normally sees a vast improvement in it. So.
But it's definitely not easy, and you have to try and adapt your child and make it work. So yeah.
But even like when we're travelling, they're learning to map read now, and they know the left and rights, and they understand where they're going. Yeah, and they can actually find their way somewhere on a Google map.
They're like following on Google Maps and stuff.
So they're actually learning something practical straight away, even at the young age they are. So that's good, things like that. So they're learning every day's a learning day for them, even when they're playing. Why we started van life, basically we didn't really have a choice at the beginning. Well, we did have a choice, but it was a choice: either sell the motorhome and lose money, the new one we bought.
We did have a house originally.
Yeah.
And
We had someone else had money invested in our house, which they wanted their money back basically. So
we sold the house.
So we had to sell the house, but we'd already bought the motorhome before that, and we're struggling to get another mortgage with owning the motorhome as well, because it's, if you've got some finance on a motorhome, it goes down as an unsecured debt or loan, and the basic mortgage companies would just turn us down, even though I had a well-paid job. Faye was working part-time, and we had like over 50% like deposit as well, and they just couldn't find, especially where we lived, is quite an expensive area.
We lived down south.
To keep Evie in her school and that, we couldn't find a house that we could afford to buy in the catchment area for Matilda as well. So we had the motorhome, and we didn't want to sell the motorhome. We could enjoy our travels, so we decided we'd give it a try.
But we did also try and rent somewhere. We thought maybe we could rent somewhere.
It's
Renting
so
is just as bad as trying to get a mortgage.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for somebody who hasn't got a deposit or, renting, because
it's just so expensive.
the hoops they wanted to jump through, the amount of money you had to be earning was just, it was crazy. So
So we sold the house, and then we didn't look back really. I mean,
I don't think we'd struggle to get back into a house, to be in four walls. I love being outside. The girls love being outside. Just, I think we've been really lucky. We've done winter van life.
Yeah, done. We spent most of the winter, well, apart from December and November, summer November.
Yeah, we went middle of November, didn't we?
Yeah, we come back at New Year's Eve on it.
Yeah. So we know what it's like to be.
So we've been in the van all through winter now, and everyone thinks we're freezing cold, but we've never been so warm. It's so much warmer living in a motorhome than it is living in our house used to be.
The only time it has its negatives is when you want to go outside and it's peeing down with rain all day.
Yeah.
But you just have to try and find things to do inside the motorhome or places to go.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
That's good for you about National Trust and things like that.
Yeah.
Once you're a member, you can always go to these places, take the girls there, do some learning about the houses and stuff. And we've got quite a few around our area.
Yeah, and we just joined English Heritage as well.
Yeah.
So we take advantage of that.
So we moved in beginning of September, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Literally the 29th of August we sold our house, and then we moved into the van. So it's still quite warm then, and we done September, October, most of November in the van. So we experienced some cold weather in the van as well. And then we went abroad to France and Spain, and then toured around for a while, and then you got on well.
Yeah.
So we had to come back because he was pretty poorly, weren't you?
Yeah, but
we saw some, like, even the medical help in Europe was so good, but they couldn't quite get the diagnosis right, so we had to come back, and then got back in January. So we spent all of January, February, and March in the van. So we experienced most of the winter in the van.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier in France and Spain to spend winter, and we would. Our plan was to spend the whole 3 months over there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it had to change. We got our seasonal pitch here in April. We came on in at the beginning of April.
Yeah.
But we'd bought this last year because obviously we planned to try and live a semi-normal life, but it hasn't quite worked out. There's advantages of a seasonal pitch and there's disadvantages of a seasonal pitch. Advantage is you've always got somewhere to go.
And with the kids, that's important.
Yeah. You can stay 27 days on here and you have to leave for one night and it resets. 27 days of one night. Or it's 28 days and leave for 2 nights, whatever you prefer to do.
It's just a bit of peace of mind, especially down south. While parking and campsites,
it's so hard.
It's very, very hard. Campsites, some don't like kids.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to try and find somewhere to stay.
It's amazing how the campsites would not let you on with, like private sites, would not let you on with kids in term time.
Yeah, something to do with council and
council rates.
Yeah, don't know.
So they say.
Yeah.
So that's what we decided to do. We already had this seasonal pitch. So the advantage of you've always got a base to come back to, which is quite good to have. But then when you want to travel and you stay somewhere else, you're paying twice. So it is a bit, that's the disadvantage. You are kind of paying twice. But it's not, I think our seasonal pitch from April to beginning of November was just on £3,000. You add it up, it's not too bad. It's not
and
great.
I have to
but
say,
it's not too
here
bad.
is we're really, really lucky. The wardens are lovely.
Yeah, we're on a good side.
Yeah, the showers, you know, you've got toilets, you've got
electric,
laundry, you know, it's lovely here. We're really, really lucky.
And it's just like just having the laundry just makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And running water all the time, and
Yeah.
So it's got its advantages and disadvantages. Like we toured around Scotland for 2 weeks, and that whole time we stayed on sites or CLs up there, we're paying twice, which is a bit of a shame. But would we keep it next year? Don't know yet.
Depends what we do.
Yeah. So future plans. We like France a lot. My mum lives in Holland. Your dad lives in Spain. So we've got those two places to go. But we like France. We just find the culture and the lifestyle over there so peaceful. And it's so much better for van life in France. As everyone knows that.
And for the kids, it's much better.
Yeah.
It's like going back in time. You know, you don't see
background,
kids.
And I want a renovation project to do. Really well, we both do, don't we?
Yeah.
That's the plan. We just want to. We're going to document it on YouTube and trying to show people that it's possible to do something like this in France on a small budget, because we haven't got a big budget at all.
No.
But we've got some spare money in the bank. That's just sitting there. So we thought we'd try and get ourselves a little project to do.
We've got to try and figure out visas and how we do.
Yeah, that's a long story, that one.
Yeah, I know, but
Let's see if we can get the house first, and then from then on, we're just gonna document it on YouTube, and then hopefully people like to follow our journey on renovating a house in France. It's going to be a barn conversion, so it's from a barn to a house. That's the plan. Yeah, and then we'll see where we go from there. I mean, obviously we can only do 3 months at a time and then come back and then go back for 3 months. But there is a way to get a short-term visa for 6 months if you own a house over there and you can prove you've got enough money to live on. So we might look at that as well. So we can spend nearly 9 months out there renovating. But that's a whole other thing. We're documenting when we try to do it, getting visas for France.
got to buy it first.
Yeah.
We have put in an offer for somewhere.
Yeah, we're just waiting to hear back this week, hopefully. It's a bit of a slower process in France. And then go from there, really. Yeah. People's reactions are quite funny. It's amazing when you go shopping with the girls and in the daytime, they're like, "Are you not in school?" And you say to them, "No, they're home." Yeah, you're not well. And they say you're homeschooled, and they're like, "Oh, really?"
Some people say, "God, you're brave."
Yeah, some people think we're silly,
but then other people, I do think in this day and age, more and more people are being homeschooled.
Yeah, we hear of it more now, don't we?
Yeah.
Even in the last 6 months, so many people say, "Oh, they're homeschooling their children."
Yeah.
Because the class sizes are so big now, and the teachers, where Evie was at school, now the teachers constantly screaming and shouting at the kids to behave, and you know they're not going to learn nothing in that situation.
No.
So that's why we thought we've got nothing to really worry about with homeschooling. She seems so much more braver and coming out of her shell so much.
Yeah.
She's happy. They're both happy. Even though we live in a van, they're happy. They're more happy than they've ever been at the house. So
it's not a bad life. We love it.
Yeah.
Like I said,
nomadic lifestyle.
I don't think I'll go back.
No, I mean we've not really been in a house for 4 or 5 months, maybe longer, and it's weird going. We went to visit someone. It's weird going in someone's house now because they've got like walls and sofas and stuff like that.
Walls and sofas.
You sort of think, this is weird sitting there.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and think, Christ, how much is this costing? A month to run. And then, we've got a full solar set up in the van. We've got lithium, inverter. So we've got everything we need power-wise. We've got routers, internet, Starlink when we need it, which has got extortionately expensive, as everyone knows. But sometimes you just need internet, and it's the only way to get internet in some places.
When we were in Scotland, we hardly ever plugged in, did we?
No. I think we've done the whole trip pretty much. The only thing we plugged in for was the Starlink, and when it was plugged in, the fridge was on to save the gas. But apart from that, we've not charged since we put all the lithium and the solar panels on. We haven't actually plugged the charger in for the batteries at all. So it's been really good off grid. But yeah, and we enjoy it.
Yeah.
Even though some of our family think we're crazy, some of our family think we're on an adventure. And yeah, we're just enjoying life.
But we are loving it.
Yeah, we are loving it.
I wouldn't change it for the world.
No.
Definitely not.
And everyone you speak to who does this all say the same thing. They wouldn't go back. When most people. I don't think we found anyone negative about it yet.
No.
Who's actually done van life.
No.
Which is a positive as well.
Yeah.
And we're still going to keep doing travelling between during the renovation project. We still will travel. We just don't know if we do it as much travel because we need to use our Schengen days as much as we can. But when we're back in England, we'll be back travelling again. We just got to decide whether to keep our seasonal pitch next year or not.
Yeah.
Or look for another part of the country for a seasonal pitch, maybe have a different area. And that's a good thing about van life. You don't have to be settled in one area. You can move around and try a few months somewhere else. Yeah, it's a shame that Britain doesn't have more airs like the French do, camping car parks and places like that. Because
I do think sometimes it's down south as well, where the area that we're in.
We're in Sussex. So.
In Sussex, it's particularly bad. Like, you used to be able to park down in Brighton and in Arundel, but they're just making it harder and harder.
You still can park there, but only for 24 hours, I think.
Yeah.
And they charge you a fortune.
Yeah.
I mean, you can park in supermarkets on the Ringo app, can't you? But even that's getting restrictive in some supermarkets in Brighton now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought we'd do this video to explain who we are, why we're doing homeschooling, why we went to full-time van life, the positives. We haven't really found any negatives. The only hardest thing is getting parcels delivered sometimes. It's a bit of a pain. But apart from that...
Someone needs to come up with an idea of a P.O. box.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
No?
No.
You can have virtual offices, but I think people charge you a huge amount for it.
I mean, you've got your Amazon lockers and stuff like that, but certain things they won't put in Amazon lockers. So when you want something of a certain size or a certain product or a certain value, they won't do it. So it's a bit of a pain. Or some of your eBay things you order, you need an address to send them to or something. I mean, not that we order loads, but sometimes there are certain things you do need.
And having a bank account and your driving licence.
Yeah, we got a family member that looks after. We use their address for that.
Care of, yeah,
and stuff like that. But no, it's all pretty positive, really. There's no negatives with it, really.
No.
Not that we found so far. I mean, obviously, there's always things that can happen in the future.
When you get ill, it's not easy.
No, but that's just life.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are. You get ill, you're ill.
No.
And like now when we're on our seasonal pitch, we put our awning out. We've got a pump up awning, which adds a little bit more room. We leave the table and chairs set up, and
girls have got their bikes.
And they love it here. There's a park here. They drive us mad about going to the park. Yeah, it's a lovely area where we are.
And loads of places to visit and stuff. So
yeah,
sort of near Eastbourne.
It's just so bloody expensive to own a house here. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a short video. Just thought we'd introduce ourselves, who we are, and why we're doing van life. And please like and subscribe. It'd be nice to get a few more subscribers. And follow us on our journey and see where we end up.
And any questions, pop them in the comments.
Yeah.
You never know, we might be able to help you.
Probably not, but anyway, we'll try.
Yeah. And by the way, that's Paul and I'm Faye, and our two kids, Evie and Matilda. But we sometimes call her Woo Woo in videos, so don't get confused. No. Her proper name's Matilda, but it's her nickname.
Yeah, Woo Woo's just been she's just a Woo Woo.
And Evie.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching, and please like and follow us on our journey. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.